honest review of the Canon Eos M3. It's what I'm filming on right now, so you know, if it goes out of focus, which it most probably will do, then you'll know why, because it's the Canon Eos M3, and I'm not very impressed with it. And I have found that there's a lot of people out there on YouTube not being honest about it, right? There's a lot of, like, when you type in Canon Eos M3 review, what you get is a lot of positive reviews, and they're not talking about the truth. And I found one guy in a DP review, so you can go and check it out yourself, and he's written an honest review with pros and cons. You can see them right here. They're quite long, so I'm not going to read them all. But I just wanted to pick a few of these out that I happen to agree with. So there are some pros. There we go. First out of focus moment. There are some pros, but there are a lot more cons. And for that reason, I will be getting rid of this camera. I have no interest in it anymore. And it's a shame because it has outstanding sharpness when it does focus. Like when it gets it right, like it's doing now. It's 24 megapixels. It's got a CMOS sensor. It's packing a Digic 6 processor, really cutting edge technology on the one hand, but then on the other hand it struggles with autofocus. It struggles to find focus quickly. When you change that focal range or that focal point, then it does struggle to find you again. Right now the setting I'm on is autofocus. If I were to press that, okay, and see how long it takes a few seconds to really focus up, and that's too long for me. So as a vlogger, you know, I bought this camera for vlogging, and the idea was to you know, to be able to just focus really quickly on subject matters that come in and out of my shot, and I can't do that with this camera because the lag is just remarkably slow. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and read some of these pros, and then I'm going to read some of the cons as well. So we'll start with the pros because I'm a positive person. Okay, it has solid JPEG quality with pleasing Canon color. Now this is true, you know. When I focus in myself manually, I get really nice sharpness as well. But that's only after I've had to intervene. You know, leaving it to its own devices, I find that it just kind of zooms in and out at will. It's well built with just right front and thumb grips. Okay, so it's well built. I would agree with that. It's got solid build quality. It doesn't feel cheap and plasticky like some of the entry-level DSLRs that you can get from Canon. This feels really solid and closer to, you know, mid-range and higher build quality. It has a tilting 3-inch LCD screen with good touchscreen implementation. That is true as well. I really love the touchscreen, and that's one of the reasons that I bought it, was for the flip-up capabilities of this screen. Obviously it's ideal for vlogging, so I'm looking at it right now, I can see myself in shot, and I'm pretty happy with that. And that's something you need as a vlogger. It's not a luxury, it's kind of a necessity, because you need to, especially for the sit-down vlogs like I'm doing right now, you want to make sure that you're in focus and that you're in the frame. So it's good for that. It has an optional electronic viewfinder. I've never used that, so it makes no difference to me. It has an external mic input, so again, great for vlogging. Just plug in your Rode or whatever you use, and you're good to go. And it has adapters for virtually every lens mount in existence. I haven't tested this. I haven't even changed from the original lens that I bought for this, which is the M22, I believe it is. So I've got a 22mm on it right now. I love the range. I love the focal sort of range of a 22mm. Very similar to a 28mm in my opinion, and I like those focal lengths. So I haven't actually tried any other lens on this camera, because, you know, for the mirrorless cameras, they do need to be M mounted. Obviously, with an adapter, I could put on any of my other Canon lenses. I mean, on my desk right now, I've got this Tamron 10-24 wide-angle lens. I could probably get an adapter for that, and I've got my 50mm here. I could put that on. But I have no interest in doing that, to be honest with you, because I wanted to explore the mirrorless range, even though it's very limited. And I'm very pleased with the 22mm that's on it right now, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it. What do I like about the Eos M3? The menu is pretty easy to navigate, you know, it's very straightforward to navigate. You can find everything you need pretty easily. Within a few seconds you can be anywhere inside the menu and sort it out, whatever the issue is. I like the rotary dials on it. They're quite pleasant to use ergonomically. There's no resistance, they're not stiff, and I like the size of the M3. I like the weight of it as well. It's very lightweight compared to my 50D, which I love, but it's just a bit heavy sometimes carrying around. But with this, I find that it's not heavy, it's very small, and I like that when it gets it right, it produces amazing sharpness. You know, I love the sharpness when I see it working. And I love that it does video. I mean, that's the only reason I bought it, to be honest with you. It's the cheapest kind of way into vlogging as far as mirrorless goes, certainly. And I love the price point as well. Most mirrorless cameras are in the thousands, you know, certainly high hundreds. But this, I got it quite cheaply. I think I got it for between 150 and 190, I can't quite remember. Just the body. And I bought the lens separately. So the price point is very friendly and inviting. But that's about it, I'm afraid. That's where the love affair ends. I'm going to move on to the cons now. First con that this guy has listed: sluggish autofocus speed. I couldn't agree more. Like, the autofocus is just, it's very slow, you know. I've never encountered such terrible lag in my life, to be honest with you. Even with my smartphone, I'm just doing this so you can see what I mean. It's not even focusing yet. There we go. This is not a problem when you're sitting here, right? But when you're out in the real world and you're filming in real time and you're vlogging in real time, it's a real problem. I've had to publish vlogs onto YouTube that I know have been really rubbish in terms of focus because, you know, I needed the content to be out there, but I filmed on this and this let me down tremendously. This has let me down a lot in my vlogs. So, you know, I bought it specifically for that purpose, and look what it's doing right now. It just does this all the time. It's always searching. I don't know what it's searching for because I'm right here. But it's just really slow and lagging and disappointing. I'm hoping that it will focus so you can see the Tamron brand name. It's still not doing it. Oh, there we go. So you can see how long that took. You know, it takes a while. I'll do it with my Canon lens. I don't think size matters with this camera. No. And still waiting. So it does take a while, you know, really, really dramatically. If you need it, especially for live, you know, fast action, and if you're going to film, you know, a day out at the park with your family, I wouldn't rely on this. It doesn't hold the focus very well. So I'm not lying about that. Okay, mediocre depth and subject tracking. Depth, okay, I think it means depth of field, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, in terms of the plane and, you know, depth of field, I guess that depends on the type of lens you're using, so I think that's a bit subjective. But generally, yeah, I mean, it's not amazing, but it's okay. Subject tracking, again, I would agree with that. Subject tracking is what I just showed you, where I go from one subject to another. So it doesn't track the subject as well as you would like, and that is a shame. Very poor battery life. Oh my goodness, guys, the battery life, I have to admit, is terrible. It is really bad. Like, it doesn't get through a whole day on one charge. It doesn't. And if you're lucky, you'll get through half a day. I've charged this camera up, but I guarantee it's already gone halfway down just from me talking right now. I find that I am having to charge it a lot. My 50D workhorse, absolute beast. That battery is still on the same charge from months ago. I can use that consistently or not consistently. You know, I go between my cameras, so I may not use the 50D for a while, and then when I do pick it up, it's still running on the same charge. It doesn't have an issue. It doesn't deplete dramatically at all. Really steady decline that lasts for a long time, which is what you want in a battery. With this, that is not the case. It's like, it doesn't matter whether you use it a lot or a little, it just consumes battery life the same. It really goes down quite fast. It's got basic auto ISO functionality, so you don't have that much control over your ISO settings. I find that's not really a problem with this camera, to be fair. It's not really a problem for me. I shoot in daylight. Right now I'm shooting in my room, but even in my room with the lighting, I don't find ISO to be an issue. So I'll give it some credit for the ISO. I haven't tested it in low light settings though, I must admit. So I can't speak to that. The high ISO performance of this camera is behind the competition in terms of both noise in RAW and noise reduction in JPEG. I have taken a few shots with this camera in daylight, but never at night. And I don't have the desire to, based on how poorly it has performed for me as a video camera. It has unsophisticated sharpening and noise reduction smudge. Okay, yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, I guess what it's basically saying is the sharpening, the image sharpness in a photo looks a bit kind of artificial, a bit too sharp, you know what I mean? Like you can see the white lines of sharpness rather than refined edges of sharpness. And it has no 1080 over 60p support. Now, this is filming in 25 per second or something. I can't remember what it's called, but normally when I'm processing a video it goes up to 30, and this camera doesn't even reach 60, so let's just forget about that. And that's what he's saying here. You can only process it at 25 or 30 at most, which isn't great, you know, when there's 60 out there, which gives you a lot closer quality to 4K. So yeah, for that reason, I think it's a letdown. It's quite disappointing. And it has no USB charging option. Not a deal breaker for me with the camera, but it is a bit of a hassle having to take the battery out and charge it every single time, especially when the battery cakes out as much as this does. Yeah, I'm not too happy with this camera. I've tried to hold on to it because I figured that maybe it was me, and I could, if I play around with the settings enough, I might find like a solution. But no, I can't do anything about the lagging. I can't do anything about that, and that is my biggest gripe with this camera. I wouldn't even mind anything else. He's got a lot of cons that he's put down here. I wouldn't care for any of those if the autofocus was better. So overall, my conclusion is, for video, I would give this camera like a 2 out of 5. 1 for the sharpness, and the other one for when it does get it right. Like, it does get it right sometimes. For photography, it scores a little higher. I'll give it a 3.5. I think that's fair enough, because it does, when you control the sharpness and you're composing a shot, it's a lot easier to maintain that sharpness than when you're filming and it just loses it all the time. So that's my review of the Eos M3. I'll put some sample shots in here at the end of this video, and you can have a look for yourself. I'll put some sample video in as well, as if this demonstration here was not enough. And I'll catch you in the next video. Leave a comment if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, and please subscribe. I want to grow this channel and build a nice community. Okay, have a great day, guys. Bye bye.
All your leaves that I picked for you are getting blown away.
Oh. Can you look a bit happier? Look at me, look at the camera. Oh, you look lovely.
Thank you. There's something on you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got it off those.
And what about your uncle? What's he up to?
Oh, no, I want to go inside.
It's recording.